One click is all it takes to lose everything.
We are in a cyber war. You can either be a defendant or you could be a victim.
What can we learn from the Marriott breach? Those that don't learn from the past are forced to repeat it. I'm a big fan of learning from the past. Not living in the past, not regretting the past, but let's learn about what happened so we can make better decisions. So if we look at the Marriott breach, there's a couple of pieces here. For anyone who works in a company, who's a manager, an executive, or works in IT or security, the big lesson with Marriott is we need to ask better questions. We need to focus on the highest priority areas. And I will tell you, for any company, the highest priority area is making sure that our customer data is properly protected. And there's really two things. One, making sure that customer data is never directly accessible from the internet. Any servers that are accessible from the internet never, ever contain critical data. Second, all of our critical data must be on the internal network, encrypted with keys kept on a separate key server. And I know it sounds simple, but it is. Cyber security is not hard. It's just doing simple things on a consistent basis. So what you need to ask yourself every single day, do we have servers accessible from the internet that contain critical data? Is all of our critical data properly encrypted with keys on a separate server? Or if you want to ask it differently, another set of questions that I love to ask is, what is your critical data? Where is it located? Who has access and who should access it? And what you're really looking at is identifying that critical information, make sure it's properly protected, make sure it's properly controlled, and make sure it's properly locked down. So to me, the big lesson learned for companies from the Marriott breach is, just because you're spending money on security and just because you have a really big team of security professionals doesn't mean you're not overlooking a big problem. It doesn't mean you're doing everything correct. So many companies do good things, but they don't do the right things. How many people do you know? And I have a friend of mine I'm working with now, doing some personal training for him, is he's been going to the gym every day, and he spends 90 minutes in the gym every single day for 9 months and hasn't lost any weight and hasn't gained any muscle. Now, essentially what that's telling you is he has made himself focused, he is dedicating the time, but he's doing the wrong things. And I did a workout with him, and what I quickly found out is that he's using the wrong weights, he's using the wrong reps, he's doing the wrong exercises, he's not giving himself enough rest, and basically revamping everything he did. Now, you would think because you bought a gym membership and you're going for 90 minutes every day that would be good, but it's not if you're doing the wrong thing. So you would think that a company spending $50 million on security and hiring 300 people would make us secure, but it doesn't if you're doing the wrong thing. Companies are so focused on buying technology and buying all this latest and greatest crazy artificial intelligence, but they're not focusing in on what the critical data is, where it's located, and making sure that it's properly protected, secured, and locked down. Now, from a consumer perspective, what you have to recognize is that companies are not going to get this fixed immediately. There are going to be a lot more Marriotts. We are never going to live in a world where there's zero compromises. The Marriott is just the beginning. We're going to see every month or two 500 to 700 million records compromised moving forward. We're going to get into the billion range. This is just going to become the normality. What we have to start doing as consumers is be a lot more careful of who we entrust our critical data to. Why are we giving out our data and our information like candy on Halloween. Anybody who knocks on our door, we just hand out here's the information, blah, blah, blah. We just hand it out like crazy. We need to be a lot more careful of who we're giving our information to and what information we're providing. Do you realize most doctor's offices have online forms and they ask for your social security number? Do you realize that's not required? You are not required to give out your social security number. They can ask, they're absolutely allowed to, but you don't have to provide it. So why are you giving out your social security number to dentists, doctors, all these different, they don't need it. We need to start better protecting, controlling, and managing who we give our information to and where it's located. We also need to make sure that we're turning on more of the security. A lot of these sites have security built in, but it's not turned on by default. So you want to go in and turn on the two-factor authentication. You want to go in, and one of the things I do with a lot of these sites is don't store my data. Now, yes, that means every time I go to this hotel, I have to re-enter my information, but you have to decide what is the lesser of two evils. Is it better to have your information exposed, or is it better to re-enter it each time? Now, once again, as long as you're making an educated decision, I'm cool with that. But I just want to make you aware that when you look at the Marriott breach, we have to make a better decision of who we're giving our information to and what information we're giving them.